Did you know that there's such a thing as a legal credit repair? In fact, some of you are actually committing these cardinal sins. I have 3 of them for you to discuss. And then the alternatives that you can do to make sure that you're fully compliant so that you don't have to deal with any potential legal repercussions and even worse, possibly going to jail. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the three worst offending credit repair, I guess, credit-esque types of offenses. And then that way we can make sure that you stay on the right side of the law. So let's talk about the first one. I have this one guy, and I'm not going to mention any names. He's literally driving me up a wall. In fact, if you're not part of my free school community, simply go to school.com/Monica Main, which is down below. This is a free community that has over 17,000 of you like-minded individuals. In addition to that, you can get a lot of my free books, free trainings, and all the new free upcoming masterclasses that I have. And you can find all that stuff up in the classroom tab. So anyway, let me tell you something here. A lot of you join this group because it's the only way you can DM me directly. And I have this one guy that's driving me crazy because what he keeps asking me for are trade lines. Trade lines by default, I guess the legitimate way to do it would be to become an authorized user on somebody's account, somebody's credit card account, say. So say, for example, your mom or dad has a 20-year American Express and they barely ever use it. They have a high credit limit. Maybe they use $1,000 every other month on it and they pay it off right away. And so this would be a perfect authorized user trade line for you to be able to add onto your credit report by simply becoming an authorized user on their account. So the way it would work is that you'd ask mom or dad to add you as an authorized user to their American Express. You would then be able to enjoy all of their credit history for the last 20 years, which would not only bolster your credit history, it would also bolster your history period, but also increase your FICO score. That is the normal, regular way everybody's supposed to be doing it. However, there's some frivolous individuals online that like to tout that they can sell these kinds of authorized user trade lines to people by adding people on as authorized users, just randos, just like you or me, if I pay for it. And this guy keeps asking me about these kinds of trade lines that I can recommend. And the answer is I cannot recommend a trade line to you because I don't want to recommend anything that's outright illegal. So I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that for you or anyone else, because when you're trying to rent or buy trade lines in this way, where you're trying to be added on as an authorized user, no bueno, no good. Because if the banks ever find out, if the credit bureaus ever find out, then you can find yourself in a whole world of hurt way more than where you are right now with maybe your lower than preferred credit score. So that is the first offense, is trying to buy or rent trade lines. The second offense is CPNs. So credit privacy numbers, it's almost like an ITIN, which would be like if, say, for example, somebody's from Canada or some other country, they decide that they want to either do business in the United States or live in the United States, and they need a taxpayer identification number, then they would apply for one through the IRS. Well, the CPN kind of works the same way. And it's almost like an alternative Social Security number. So there's a ton of people online selling these CPNs, claiming that they're legitimate alternative Social Security numbers that you can use in place of your Social Security number to rebuild your credit. Or in some cases, they already have a credit profile built. But herein lies the problem. Many of these CPNs are actually ripped off Social Security numbers from either people who are existing that either are deceased, or they're people that are already roaming God's green earth right now, and they're none the wiser that their identity was stolen. As you know, identity theft is a huge multi-billion-dollar illegal business in the dark market. Or it's from a child who hasn't even had the chance to use his or her Social Security number, and it's a clean credit slate. And so all of these things, no matter which way you slice it, whether it's a child, whether it is an old person that's on the verge of being deceased or is deceased, which, by the way, usually the Social Security Administration is really good about closing down people's Social Security numbers if they are in fact deceased, if their family does report it, and if the funeral home properly reports it. But in some cases, these things slip through the cracks. And of course, identity theft of people with really good credit stealing people's credit and selling their CPNs, or essentially their social security numbers, to somebody that needs the social security number to be able to open up brand new accounts that will allow them to have, virtually unlimited access to unsecured credit. This is illegal. Don't do it. You can actually do prison time if you were caught with an illegal social security number that you've been using. And even though it might seem legit, because there's a lot of people on TikTok and other places, even YouTube, that are talking about getting a CPN, the problem is it's illegal. And you're using somebody else's social security number in most cases. And even if you're not, you're still only supposed to be using the social security number that was designated for you. So do not do that. It could consider and be construed as bank fraud. And anytime you are convicted of bank fraud, it's usually on a federal level, and then you go to federal prison for that. We don't want that, right? And then the final one that a lot of people are doing, I think many of you that are part of my groups have been misunderstanding some of the videos that I've been talking about lately in reference to filing identity theft claims. And so identity theft is reserved only for those of you that have had actual identity theft or know that your ID has been stolen. This could be an identity breach of some kind that you have seen a reflection of, maybe in your credit reports or maybe on the phantom bureaus like LexisNexis or Innovis, in which case, yes, you do have a legitimate identity theft claim, especially, triple especially, if you've noticed that there's accounts showing up on your credit reports that are clearly not yours, or you have bill collectors showing up saying that you owe money and you definitely do not know who they are, where they came from, or who the original creditors or anything. You've never heard of these people. In which case, yes, that is considered a legitimate identity theft claim that you can, in fact, file a police report. So the first thing would be filing a police report with your local police department. A lot of times you could do this online. And usually when you're filing the report, they're going to ask you for the specific identity theft situation. Like, for example, the credit profile that's showing up on your credit reports that's clearly not yours, or whatever else you know about the identity theft situation. Then the next thing you're going to do is go to identitytheft.gov and file a report with the FTC. And finally, you're also going to be filing with the CFPB just to put them on notice, because you want as many entities, government entities, to be put on notice as possible to bolster up your claim of identity theft. And then you submit all these reports in with a copy of your driver's license or passport card or other state-issued or government-issued ID, along with 2 utility bills showing your current address or equivalent if you don't have utility bills. And you mail that all in with these reports to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, which are your main 3 credit reporting bureaus, stating that you've had an identity theft claim. Here's proof that you filed a claim with these entities, with these government entities, from the local level to the federal level, and that you are demanding that they remove certain things off of your credit because they are not your accounts. They were opened up, fraudulently. Additionally, if you have not by this point, all of you should have your credit reports frozen. Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, they all need to be frozen immediately, because it's very difficult for you to defend any kind of, identity theft claim if you don't have your reports frozen. However, even though all of you should freeze your reports anyway, because the more your FICO goes up, the more valuable your credit becomes to people who are thieves and people who are stealing identities. But here's the thing. If you do not have a legitimate identity theft claim, meaning that somebody stole your identity and tried to do something with it, then you're not going to be able to file a police report or anything with the FTC or CFPB. You're just not. You shouldn't. It's illegal for you to make this claim that you, in fact, have an identity theft claim, and you do not. So yes, you can, if you suspect that there was some kind of identity theft breach, you can put these people on notice, and also, again, make sure that you keep those credit reports frozen. You only unfreeze them for a very short period of time when you're applying for credit, then you keep those frozen from that point forward. You keep your credit reports frozen all the time, is what I tell everybody. But if you don't have an actual account or something that's been opened up in your name. Now, mind you, it doesn't just mean accounts. Like, for example, I tell people to pull their LexisNexis consumer disclosure report. And the reason I tell you to do that is because sometimes you'll find that there's things on there that do not match or jive with your reality. You might be showing an address in a completely different state, a state that you've never lived in. And what ends up happening is some people that are undocumented sometimes borrow people's identity just to be able to get a job someplace, but they'll never use your identity to go get credit. So you might not be fully aware of the fact that somebody did in fact rip off your identity, and you might not even know. So you need to pull your LexisNexis consumer disclosure report to see what all of the true history is, including, old addresses and so forth that may have never hit the Credit Reporting Bureau reports because no credit was ever applied under your Social Security number and your name. So if you've truly found that there is identity theft on any of the Credit Reporting Bureau reports, and especially LexisNexis, then definitely file those police reports that I mentioned, as well as the FTC report, the CFPB report, to make sure that everybody's put on notice. And again, I cannot stress this enough. You do need to make sure that you definitely lock down your credit reports by freezing them and keeping them frozen as much as possible. And the only time you unfreeze it temporarily is when you are applying for credit. So don't succumb to these scams. I know a lot of people try to sell the whole quick fix of being able to get your credit back on track. And I know it can be tantalizing and tempting to jump on any of these things, but you can get in a whole world of trouble legally if you decide to follow suit with these things and, do these things, follow through with these things, and they're in fact not legitimate at all. So just be aware, because it's a lot easier to fix your credit than you think. In fact, if you did not get my free credit flow chart, which shares with you exactly how to fix your credit, you can get this at getdisputeletters.com or secretcreditletters.com down below. And this will share with you everything that you need to know to fix your credit. So then that way you don't have to succumb to some of these scammy types of ways of being able to try to fix your credit quickly when you just follow this chart. And I can guarantee you that no matter how disastrous your credit is right now today, 1 year from now, if you follow this chart and you do all the disputing and everything, even in 6 months from now, your FICO score could very easily be 150 to 200 points or more higher than it is now without having to risk your freedom in your life behind bars because you're doing some scammy, shammy stuff. In addition to that, I do have my book, which I don't know where it is on the bookshelf. Apparently I don't have it up there. No, I guess I don't. It's called Credit Millionaire. I'm about to take this down. I'm days away from taking it down. And this also shares with you not only my unorthodox, barely legal credit repair strategies and secrets, but also how to get unsecured business or corporate credit to whereas you can access upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars in unsecured credit at any given time, provided that you understand the loopholes that basically everybody has, as long as you understand what the loopholes are. So you can get this free download book at school.com/Monica Main, all lowercase. Make sure that once you're admitted into the group that you head on up to the classroom tab, look for Credit Millionaire. I will be taking it down very, very soon because I have Credit Millionaire 2.0 that just came out on Amazon, so that's why I'm taking the old version off. So please make sure that you get it because it will literally be the last time that you can get Credit Millionaire. So again, school.com/Monica Main. This is Monica Main signing off, and I will see you in the next video.